Pro-lifers have been subject to a growing number of threats, citations, and arrests outside of abortion facilities, many of which remain open during the coronavirus pandemic. One incident involved 8 arrests in Charlotte, North Carolina in early April, when the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department tells EWTN Pro-Life Weekly officers observed approximately 50 protesters congregating outside an abortion facility. Police say the gathering was determined to be a violation of a prohibition on mass gatherings in North Carolina's stay-at-home order, and those who exceeded the 10-person limit outlined in the order were asked to leave. Those who refused, police tell us, were issued citations. Several decided to remain and were then arrested for their refusal to disperse. One of those arrested included David Benham of the Benham brothers fame. Benham is a former professional baseball player, entrepreneur, best-selling author, and now chairman of the pro-life group Cities for Life. Here is a video Benham posted of his arrest.
I appreciate you serving. I appreciate everything that you do for us. Yes, sir. But this is wrong, and you know it. You cannot tell us to leave.
Can't.
You know I am well within my constitutional authority to be here. You know that I'm.
Yes, sir. It's in my vehicle.
You know that we're doing the right thing.
EWTN Pro-Life Weekly received this statement from Mecklenburg County's attorney, quote, "Under the appropriate circumstances, a government may place reasonable restrictions on constitutional rights. Under these circumstances, while the COVID-19 state of emergency and public health declarations are in place to reduce the further spread of the virus, it is reasonable to limit a person's freedom or movement to a gathering of no more than 10 people and a requirement that each person remains at least 6 feet apart to protect the public." David Benham, chairman of Cities for Life, who was arrested outside that Charlotte abortion facility, joins us now via Skype. David, thanks for being with us. First off, can you give us your account of what happened outside the Charlotte abortion facility on April 4th?
Well, it's clearly viewpoint discrimination. And I was drinking coffee with my wife on Saturday morning, and I got a phone call from our attorney early, around 7:30 in the morning, saying, "Hey, David, listen, we have some sidewalk counselors that are down at the abortion facility. That is essential business in North Carolina. And we've got a lot of police officers that are there saying that they may make arrests." And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. First of all, we are a federally recognized 501c3 public charity. We are well within the provisions of essential businesses giving social services. That said, we also have only a skeleton crew of sidewalk counselors. We only had 3 sidewalk counselors there, and we were going above and beyond practicing social distancing with spacing out our sidewalk counselors, talking, not touching, all of these things. So I show up at the abortion facility around 8:30 Saturday morning, and one of the officers came right over to me and said, "Sir, you cannot be here. This is a gathering of more than 10 people. And of course, I went back through it. No, there are not more than 10 people here. In addition, I'm the chairman of the board with Cities for Life. We are an essential organization inside the provisions of this statute." So he refused to listen to me and unfortunately made the arrest.
So it's safe to say you do not agree with how the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department depicted the series of events leading to your arrest?
Well, of course not. The only reason why they were arresting me is because of where I was standing. Now, they cited me for gathering more than 10 people. There weren't more than 10 there. You can't see it on video. You can't see it in any pictures. There were not more than 10 there. However, I'm also part of Cities for Life, which is a federally recognized public charity. We have constitutional authority to be there. We don't even have to practice the COVID laws. In other words, if you looked inside of the abortion facility that day, you'd see 14 mothers, all of these people inside the waiting room. None of them were socially distanced, none of them. And you had cars in the parking lot. And yet, instead of going in there, and on the video, I said, "Officer, if you're stating that I'm breaking the law, they're breaking the law too. If you deem them as essential, we clearly are within our rights, and we're going above and beyond. We're even social distancing." And so they said, "I'm sorry, we're going to place you under arrest." I mean, if you would have gone half a mile down the road from the local abortion facility, there was a Home Depot with 800 people there, and I'm only guessing 800. I mean, it was so many people. They're all standing in line, people holding pots and plants and mulch. That's an essential business. If you go a few miles down the road, ABC Liquor Store has a line wrapped around the store. Everybody's within 2 or 3 feet of each other. and yet they make the arrest in front of a local abortion clinic. It's viewpoint discrimination and it's government overreach, and they clearly are wrong.
David, I want to expand on a point that you brought up. You are chairman of Cities for Life, a federally recognized 501c3 public charity. So what rights do you understand that provides you and your group to function during stay-at-home orders?
Well, inside the provisions of both the local ordinance and the state statute, it says that 501c3 public charities are deemed essential if you're giving social services. Now, I'll say this. When a woman walks into an abortion facility and she walks out, she's got nothing. She's got no one to follow up, nothing. But guess who's there? Our ministry is there. Our organization is there. We've been doing this for 10 years. And we've had over 5,000 mothers choose the services. We connect them in with various ministries, from housing assistance, from adoption to medical services, baby showers, the whole 9 yards. These are all the social services. We even work hand in hand with the Department of Social Services in Mecklenburg County. We have a mentor network with Love Life Charlotte, which is another pro-life organization, of over 300 families that are offering mentor services and mentor offerings to all of these mothers that would choose life, and even those who chose to get an abortion and really need some support. So we are there. If they're going to go in to get an abortion, we have every right to continue our service offerings. In addition, we're going above and beyond and still practicing social distancing. And you can see all that on our videos and on our pictures.
Senator Ted Cruz of Texas was quick to call your arrest unconstitutional, and he sent EWTN Pro-Life Weekly this statement, quote, "If abortion is essential, then other pregnancy services are essential too. David's arrest was a blatant double standard and, more importantly, unconstitutional. Democrat Governor Roy Cooper and other elected Democrats should stop abusing their power and discriminating against people of faith." David, what's your reaction to Senator Cruz's statement, and do you plan to pursue any legal action?
Well, I really appreciate Senator Ted Cruz, and it's pretty awesome to see pastors and entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, and elected officials rallying to the cause of our constitutional rights. And it's also awesome that Senator Cruz is not only just talking about defending our rights, but he's also talking about our obligation to the unborn. It's our responsibility. And yeah, we are pursuing legal action. I hired the Alliance Defending Freedom. They are already on the case. We sent Mecklenburg County, which is the county in which Charlotte resides, the city of Charlotte resides. We sent them a stand-down order. We also are we're talking with the city attorney, trying to speak some sense to them, saying you cannot target our sidewalk counselors. As a matter of fact, not only do we have the right to be there as a public charity, but we are practicing social distancing. So they have this whole narrative, and it's really frustrating. Sorry, I'm getting so passionate about it, but this whole narrative is a lie. They're working hand in hand with the Charlotte Observer that also swung at Ted Cruz, saying that Cruz was wrong and Benham is wrong. They said, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police, unfortunately, as much as I love the men and women of blue, they're listening to the city attorney and the mayor's office and the governor here in North Carolina. But they said that I led a protest of 50 people protesting. They congregated. That is insane. There weren't even 50 people there. That's just, but it's really, it's gross government overreach. My First Amendment rights do not go out the door in the midst of a global pandemic. And I get it. We're in a global pandemic and we are practicing social distancing and we do love our neighbor and we are honoring our laws. It's the Mecklenburg Police Department, it's the mayor's office, it's the city attorney that are not honoring our God-given rights.
Well, we are so grateful that you joined us to share your perspective of these events. This is an important conversation right now that the pro-life movement needs to have amidst this pandemic, and we're grateful that you're there to support moms and women in need. David Benham, Chairman of Cities for Life, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We continue our conversation on the pro-life movement amidst the coronavirus pandemic with Susan B. Anthony List President Marjorie Dannenfelser. She joins us via Skype from Arlington, Virginia. Marjorie, David Benham believes pro-life Americans are being targeted right now amidst this pandemic. Do you agree with that analysis?
Well, there is no question that just in every other major crisis that it seems like this country has had in modern times, Planned Parenthood has come in to say we are the answer to everyone's problem. And the answer is more abortion, in this odd flip-flop sort of way of thinking about life, where we're fighting for life, literally, in our homes right now. And during Hurricane Katrina, during 9/11, the response was always, here are more abortions. So in terms of people who are actually on the front lines, helping women who are more isolated than ever, that are trying to make their way into an abortion clinic for a solution to their problem, more than ever, it is vital that sidewalk counselors that are truly the civil rights workers of this day are allowed freedom to have conversation. They may be the only other conversation that that woman is ever going to have about an alternative to abortion, whether it's adoption or whatever else, before she makes a deadly choice for her baby and a life-changing choice for herself.
For our viewers who may not know this, Marjorie, you hail from North Carolina yourself, where these arrests took place. Can you put into perspective for us, what is the role of the pro-life movement in North Carolina right now, especially in the context of the 2020 presidential election?
Well, my heart is very much there, and many of our plans are emanating from there. Really, as North Carolina goes, so goes the country in a lot of ways, because it's a really pivotal state for the presidential election and for the balance of the U.S. Senate. It could go the way of Virginia, which went completely in the blue, liberal, pro-abortion direction, or it could go the way of Ohio, which has broken out as pretty much a red state when it comes to life and voting for pro-life candidates, including the presidency and the Senate. So our folks have divided up North Carolina in the most important places to be. Our canvassers are going door to door. Well, they were going door to door, and now they're making phone calls every single day. Almost 200,000 visits or calls have occurred since late fall. Really just apprising North Carolinians of what is at stake in the coming election, like we're doing in all the other battleground states, and the unbelievable contrast and choice we have to make that will really determine the future of the Supreme Court and pro-life laws generations and generations. Moments we never get back, and we have to get right this time.
Marjorie, we are seeing a high number of jobless claims and a lot of uncertainty and unknowns about the future right now during this pandemic. What does that mean when it comes to sidewalk counseling and the importance of pro-lifers reaching out to women in need right now?
Yeah, all of us at home are thinking about the most vulnerable in our society right now. Who needs our help the most? Isolation, lack of funding, desperation is rampant. And there's no group of people who need that support and love and outreach more than a woman who's facing a crisis pregnancy, who is considering walking into a clinic and making one of the most difficult and worst choices that she could ever make in her life for her child and for her emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being. Those frontline workers, those people having those conversations, offering spiritual, physical, all sorts of other help to help us come through those crises in this particular moment is so important. There's lots of also terrible, bad information out there about how coronavirus could affect an unborn child. Go on our website. We have a lot of good medical information at sbalist.org/coronavirus about that, about medical situations. I'll just add this one thing. At this really desperate, isolated, awful moment, for many women that are suffering right now, what the Planned Parenthood community, so to speak, and the abortion community has done is tried to really build on that isolation and that desperation. What they, act like Florence Nightingale when they're really doubling down on their difficulty, trying to promote self-abortions at home through telemedicine and through Mifeprex, the self-abortion pill. Really using this moment to advocate for fetal tissue research, again, using the broken bodies of babies to try to work on research. So many places are taking advantage, and we need to be looking and watching because the wolf is at the door.
Thank you for offering that hope and truth, and thanks for joining us. Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony List.
Thanks for having me, Catherine.